Greetings, everybody. Welcome back. Another episode of Nuts and Bolts. And Natty's back. Yay!
I'm back. Yay! Excuse my maybe little coughs here and there.
No,
I'm alive. I promise.
that's okay. I think, I've still got a cough. I can't speak for everybody else. I was going to speak for everybody else, but then I thought, no, it's just me, really. On my sample size of two, both of us have coughs. Like, yeah. Well, I have to say, like, I think
Halloween coughs.
Yeah, that's it. Halloween coughs, but well, for me, I think it's because it's a little bit colder for me at the moment. I don't know if you noticed, Natty. I'm a little bit bare right now.
Oh yes, you don't have your usual neck warmer.
No, that's right. Oh my god, it was so bad. Like because I shaved on Monday for the start of Movember because we're doing Movember here at Game on Oz. So please, if you've got any money, donate to our Till to Fire campaign that we got going. If you're in the Twitch chat, it'll be popping up in a message there, or if you're watching it somewhere, we'll put it in a link somewhere so that you can go and donate anyway. So please do that because we've got some good rewards there. But yes, I shaved on Monday, and Monday was a bit of a chilly morning, and I'm walking around work, and all I can feel is like the cold air on my naked face, and it's just like, oh, I don't like this.
You need to walk around doing the Macaulay Culkin, just holding your chin and your cheeks.
I did contemplate like going getting, because I got a beanie that lives in the car, and just like chucking it over my chin and seeing how I went there.
Have you seen those night beanies and gnome beanies where they've built in beards, or
yes.
a mouth guard style, like a helm, a night helm?
Yeah,
You just need
yeah,
one of those.
that's it. Or maybe I'll just wear a mask, and that might keep me a little bit cool. But that's
Well,
yeah, that's our Movember stuff, and we are doing some viewer rewards. So for every, I want to say 20. I made this up and I've forgotten already. Hang on. So I think it's for every $20. We're doing some exercise reps of our choice, because you bastards aren't going to make me do burpees. So yeah, we'll do 5 reps of that, which for me will probably be star jumps. But other people might like to do push-ups. They might like to do sit-ups. I don't know. Like, my abs are not built for sit-ups. I don't know about yours, Natty.
no, my abs are pretty good, but I broke my toe a few years ago, so I can do burpees. They just really hurt. So yes, I'll be pulling some star jumps, I think, maybe as well.
Yeah. So yeah, it's for every $20 that gets donated, we'll do 5 reps of an exercise of the host choice, because we've got the weekly show as well that we'll be doing some of this. But also, if we hit $500, we're going to do a Goa Staff gaming stream. So that's something we don't normally do, because we've got the shows that we do here with Nuts and Bolts and the weekly show. And so we'll get together one night on a to be determined night if we hit that $500 goal. And
That's super exciting. I can't wait.
Oh yeah, me too. I think we're still kind of deciding what the game is going to be, but yeah, I think whatever we play is going to be fun.
No, but it has to be a battle royale of games.
Yeah.
Surely this is how we have to go.
I think so. Like I kind of thought like maybe we could do something like a megathon at PAX, where we play a whole heap of random mini games and then crown the champion of that. But I think that I don't know. I have to have a bit more of a think about that one. But we also have a $750 reward. So this one we're throwing it back a bit. It's something we haven't done for a while, but the weekly show used to do gaming songs every now and then. So they would take a well-known song and rewrite the lyrics to gaming stuff. So yeah, we're reviving that for that reward. So if we hit $750, we'll write a gaming song. And then lastly, for $1,000, the ultra secret surprise. Ooh,
I
mysterious.
love the ultra secret surprise.
Me too. They haven't told me what it is yet, so it could be anything.
It's a surprise to us as well.
That's it. Yeah. So that's our goals for Movember there. So cannot wait to get stuck into that. And we're recording this on the Wednesday, so the 2nd of November, and we've already got a fair chunk of donations in there. So thank you to everybody for that. And no doubt we'll have more by the time this goes to air. So thank you, everybody. We really appreciate that. And your generosity is amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much in advance. It's such a good cause. Men's health is something that needs to be highlighted, especially for a lot of us. We've spoken about mental health being something that's impacted this community, and something that we back and want to raise awareness about.
Yep, I feel as gamers, like, and particularly at Goa, with our motto, it's okay just to play, because that's what we want. Games are an escape. You want to have fun playing them, so you take it nice and easy. It doesn't matter how you play the game as long as you're having fun. But like the other side of Movember with like the prostate cancer stuff as well, because those are important. Because I know I'm guilty of it at times. I don't go to the doctor. Like, I've had this cough for 2 weeks. I'm going, oh, it's just a cough. It's all right. It'll go away sooner or later.
Yeah.
But I really should go to the doctor and get it checked out. And it's a very important message for well, men in particular, but everybody as well, to look after yourself and take care. And yeah, that's why we fundraise for Movember, to get those dollars in for all those wonderful causes. But let's jump into some esports news right now. So we've of course got World of Tanks. That's heating up now. So the B League has had its first week of playoffs already. That happened on Monday night, and this Friday night we've got the Premier League heading into playoffs as well. So let's have a quick chat about some of the games. So the first game of the night was the Action X versus the Comets. Now, there was only one match of the night that didn't have an impact on the finals. This wasn't it. This had an impact on the finals. So Action X had locked up their playoff spot the week before, and for the Comets to secure their spot, they needed a win. There was still a chance that they could get into the playoffs if they lost, but they had to rely on other results. So it was going to be pretty heated, I thought, but Action X, they're showing some really good form heading into the playoffs right there. They came to fight. The game you can see on the screen at the moment, if you're watching on twitch.tv/GameOnOz, you'll see the Action X are already up 1, and they went on to win the series 4-0. So they put their foot down, and the Comets just didn't have an answer for it. And look, you got to remember, this is the Comets' first season in the Premier League. They got promoted from the B League last season, and yet there is a fairly decent skill gap between the B League and the Premier League. And the fact that they're even in consideration for finals at all is amazing.
Oh, I think they've done a brilliant job just doing as well as they have, and even coming into this game, I don't think anybody would have predicted it would have been a 4-0 wipe for Adelaide Action X. Like, they have been competitive in their matches. So I mean, of course I'm happy Adelaide won, but I don't think this should tarnish everything the Comets have achieved this season so far.
That's it. It's just been a great run for the Comets, and we'll find out how they went in a minute. If they made playoffs in a minute as we continue on talking about the game. So the second game of the night was between the Sentinels and the Matildas. So unfortunately, the Matildas could not make playoffs. They haven't had the best season. But what they could do is potentially spoil things a little bit for the Sentinels. So the Sentinels were currently sitting in second, and Scorpions in first. So if the Scorpions lost against the Panthers and the Sentinels won, that could jump the Sentinels up into first. They weren't going to fall out of second, though, so there was no danger of that. Sorry, Natty, the Action X weren't going to overtake them. But once again, though, it's the good teams coming right at the right end of the season here. The Sentinels were just too good for the Matildas. They found over matches. They had that focus fire onto tanks and just took the wins there. So Matildas did take one game though. So it was a 3-1 win, not a 4-0 whitewash there. So but congratulations to the Sentinels for getting at least second spot. And we'll find out how they went in a bit if they manage to jump the Scorpions as well. So the last game of the night was between the Scorpions and the Perth Panthers. So Panthers needed to win this to jump up into fourth place and get that playoff spot. But like I keep on meaning to go and research this, but I don't think the Panthers have ever beaten the Scorpions. So
Oh.
this was going to be a big ask, and
Mm.
especially with how well the Scorpion season had gone. I think they had one loss against the Sentinels, I think it was, and then they came back and had a tiebreaker win in the second round. But we'll check that on the ladder in a bit. But for the Panthers though, it was do or die. But unfortunately, look on paper, looking at this lineup, it's a lot better than fifth. But they just couldn't click for whatever reason. They losing to the Matildas hurt them, and losing to the Comets in the second way around hurt them as well. And unfortunately, they lost this one as well, 4-0. So the Scorpions kept top spot and meant that the Comets made finals in their first series in the B League at the expense of the Panthers there. So let's just recap the results before we go on. So yeah, you can see there, Action X beat the Comets 4-0. Sentinels beat the Matildas 3-1, and the Scorpions beat the Panthers 4-0 as well. So, like, Action X and Scorpions just put on a really dominant display, and I'm excited to see them going in the playoffs. So let's before we do check out what the playoffs are going to be there, let's just have a quick look at the fantasy team. And it surprised me a little bit that the top player for the round was Goober from the Panthers, considering that his team got a 4-0 whipping there, and he ends up scoring the most amount of points this week. So that's an interesting one to me. But then, of course, you also see that you've got Wymo and the return from the Sentinels in their win over the Matildas. Aussie from the Scorpions, also from the winning team, and Gloucester from Action X. Actually, I'm happy to see Gloucester up there because he was a draftee this season. I think he came from the B League, so good to see him getting up onto that team of the week right there as well.
Yeah, absolutely loving seeing the Gloucester at 1% of picks and Wamo and Goober as well at around the 2%. Anybody, including those guys, are getting heavily rewarded, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's a Wymo is a little strange one, and I think it's probably because of the Sentinels and the way they play, because like they're not afraid of sacrificing a tank for the greater good, and so to see, I think Wymo last season was a 4-star player, and this season he's a 3-star player. So, he must have just had a bit of a drop in the stats there. But really, any Sentinels player is a good pick to have in your fantasy team. But let's have a quick look at the bracket going into the playoffs there. So the upper bracket final will be between the Scorpions and the Sentinels. Sydney Derby first up. So that's
wow.
That's a rematch. That's
gonna be huge.
It's going to be so big. That's the rematch of the season 4 grand final as well. The winner of that will jump straight into the grand final, which is on the 26th of November, I believe. Yes, 26th of November at Fortress Melbourne. It's a live land final there for that one. The loser will go into the consolidation final, being played next Friday, I believe. They will face the winner of the lower bracket final between the Action X and the Comets. And really, after the dominant display this week, you'd have to be thinking that the Action X have got that. But it's a different story in finals, because they go to a longer format with I believe the week to week picks are just picks, but now you've got picks and bans, so you can target some bans away from the other team.
Oh, that does change the game. I know we've said this a few times, but Comets have brought some interesting strategy into the A-League, and I would be really interested to see just how they go with the bans in play as well.
I was also trying to find some info about it, but I also believe that they go to 9. No, it might be the grand final that's gone to 9 games. I have to double check that, but so and going to nine rounds means that there's probably less bans that you can really do. In fact, I'm not sure how many's in the map pool, but I'm pretty sure it's close to 9 if it's not more than that. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. Can't wait to see the playoffs there. So, but of course we've also got the B League that are already in their playoffs there. So let's have a look at how the first week of playoffs went for the B League, and I'm going to call it a surprise because I feel like the Fireflies had a really good season, and while the Hellcats are much improved, I wouldn't have picked them over the Fireflies. But yes, the Hellcats did manage to beat the Fireflies 4-3. So the Hellcats go through to the grand final for the ANZB League as well, while the Fireflies get a second chance. And the Badgers rebound, because I think the week before the Badgers played the Centurions in a normal round and the Centurions won. But yeah, they've bounced back to win 4-2 in their match as well. So the Badgers will take on the Fireflies in that consolidation final there when we have a look. So the consolidation final will be on Monday night, but the grand final will be played before the consolidation final of the ANZ Premier League the following Friday. So that they'll get a prime time slot in there on the Friday night. So it'll be really cool to see who comes out of the Fireflies Badgers lineup. I think I'm trying to remember because I'm pretty sure it was the Fireflies who won. Just let me double check that because I think the Badgers tend to be a bit of a brawling team, and I think the Fireflies in their game brought a little bit more strategic sort of thinking, and were able to just take on the Badgers pretty well there. So let me just double check. So yes, so the last time the Fireflies and the Badgers met, the Fireflies won 3-1. But once again, finals are a different kettle of fish. It's a best of 7 series in the consolidation final. So we'll see if the Fireflies have what it takes to outlast the Badgers there.
Should be a good one. I like they're kind of living up to their names, the Badgers being a bit more brawly.
Yeah. No, they can be quite entertaining, but they also don't usually have like a backup strat. Like it's usually just okay next. They kill a tank. Okay next type thing. Yeah. So like they do well with their focus fire, but yeah, it's not very strategic thinking. It's a go out of the blocks pretty quickly and hope to catch a couple of tanks unawares. But moving on, so back to some international news. So the DOTA 2 International happened over the weekend, and now we have a new champion, Tundra Esports. Congratulations on your victory over Team Secret there in the DOTA 11 grand final there. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I just love the DOTA championships as far as just the prize pools, because I think we're talking about $18 million prize pool for this event.
Oh, it's the richest in
huge.
Almost 19 million according to Liquipedia. So that's it's a huge amount of money.
And the idea that it's mostly crowdfunded too, like how insane is that? All the players of the game just putting into it when they're buying skins and showing support for the game, and it ends up going back to support the esport league, which I think is a relatively rare model. I know that we've seen a few other tournaments and orgs try that kind of method, but it just hasn't worked. But it seems to, still be working. 11 internationals later, it's still working.
Still working for him. It's an interesting thought, isn't it? The way, because like the fact that it's the richest esports competition in the world, and it's crowdfunded like that. Like we were talking the other week about Heroes of the Storm getting a bit of a crowdfunding thing, but that game like is in a different sort of position really, because it's, for lack of a better term, a dead game.
It's not supported by the developer anymore. So definitely a different position and a different prospect there, where it was more a passion project, I think, for people that are still playing the game and still supporting it, whether yeah, Dota 2 still has a massive player base. There was some really interesting viewership stats where they were talking about how, yeah, it was the lowest viewership they've seen in the last 3 years, but it was also within, I think, the top four of the largest viewerships since the tournament's been running. So
Okay.
it's low according to the current trend, but still right up there as far as overall viewership for the tournament, and certainly not showing any signs of slowing down.
That would fit in with trends in streaming in general, though, as well, because the last couple of years with COVID, streaming viewership in general is up, and as things have started to open up again, that viewership has gone down. So I'm not really surprised that their viewership has gone down, but the fact that it's still in the top four for all of the internationals, that's still bloody good.
Yeah, no, I think it's really a good sign that it's still very healthy. And again, it's another event that's managed to return to LAN with the COVID situation still going on. I think that any tournaments managing LAN are doing a fantastic job holding it
Hmm.
together and keeping their sports going and trying to maintain that competitive integrity that you only really get when it's a LAN event.
Yep. But more LAN events that happened over the weekend, and I've got a bit of a video to show you because I love how this looks. And Natty, you're a bit more on this, but the Red Bull Woolooloo tournament happened over the weekend, and it happens in a castle. Like, I just love this pomp and circumstance to go on. So you've got two standard bearers following behind the players as they walk up, drummers, and just the whole castle that they're in. You know, it's just so cool.
Yeah, that I love. They've got all the support staff in like Age of Empires themed costumes, so in like villager and peasant style outfits, and yeah, absolute pomp, and I love it. Red Bull and Microsoft really do a good job with this, and again, the fact that they've been able to return to LAN as well has been
Mm.
fantastic. It just is really great for the sport to be able to have the audience and all this kind of celebrations going on.
One thing that I didn't really notice, and it's kind of one thing that you have in the back of your mind, but both the players have notebooks. Um, so they'll have their strats in there and notes about probably what they're going to do. But I do wonder what else they would have in there. Like,
Oh, it's amazing with Age of Empires how much strategy depends on what races end up getting picked, and they do like a pick and ban kind of situation as well. So if you manage to ban your opponent's strongest race, then um, it does create some interesting tactics, and everything changes based on who you're competing against. What are you going to go for a rush, or are you going to try and be a bit more defensive, tanky? It just changes so much. Um, so just a little bit more information about the event, which I think is so cool, is that they're running competitive championships for age one, age two, and age four.
oh,
So this was running over nearly a month, with the finals happening last weekend for all four of all of the three titles, which I think is really cool. Like, I can't think of any other game where they have active competition running across three different variations of the game, especially when one of the games was like, I think age one is 25 years old or something.
mm. So when you say ages, because I've only played a little bit of Age of Empires, but I know the research tree in there because it's called Age of Empires because you start off in like I'm going to say Stone Age, but that's probably not quite right. But and then as you advance, you go through like the Bronze Age and other ages. So when you say Age one, that means they can't advance to the
So,
next age. Is that right?
no, no. So I'm talking about the actual versions of the game.
Oh, right.
Sorry, I'm not. I've got to be
Yeah.
careful, don't I?
Yeah.
Because you do age up in the game, and that
Yeah.
happens across all the versions of the game. But no, no. So, Age of Empires 1, the game,
Hmm.
Age of
Yep.
Empires 2, the game, and Age of Empires 4, the game, were all being
Ah.
played over the event, and um, yeah, like I'm going to Google it now just because I'm
I was,
kind of interested myself.
yeah, because I'm sitting there thinking that'd be a really interesting restriction. Because I know in speedrunning they get like silly categories. Like there's a Super Mario Brothers 3 speedrun category, which is all forts. So like the aim of the game is not to well, the aim of the run is not to finish and kill Bowser. Is just to finish all the forts. Um, and
No, no, they're not quite
yeah,
going, not quite going that
yeah.
way. So Age of Empires 1 was released in 1997. Now, another thing that I really have to celebrate Microsoft for here is that Age of Empires doesn't have loot boxes or season passes or anything like that when they do introduce new races to the team, to the game. They're packs that you do pay for. But it is really interesting looking at that model of this game has been running since 1997. They've been able to make it continually competitive over that time and still manage to fund and support it as a developer, which
It's
you've
amazing.
got to be looking at that. Like, I just think it's insane as an esport that it's still relevant, still going, still lots of people interested in it. Which kind of brings me to the other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit, which is the stats from the event. Um, so the smallest prize pool was for Age of Empires 1, which was 50,000 USD, and that pulled the most concurrent viewers,
Wow.
which was just nuts. So it was over 100,000 people at one point were watching Age of Empires 1 competitive play. Um, so the Age of Empires 2 tournament had a prize pool of 200,000, and that was what we were just watching then, Age of Empires 2, with Tato taking that out, which was very cool because that was his first tournament, first
Yay.
time at a Woolooloo. So he was the underdog and managed to pull it out, which is very cool. And then Age of Empires 4 had a $300,000 prize pool. So yeah, just fantastic that Red Bull and Microsoft are still supporting this. It's managing to be a LAN event. It's still competitive. It's still getting drawing decent viewership, which is very cool.
Mhm. That's amazing to watch. And yeah, so you were saying they play the different games. So this one, oh, so this is Age of Empires is the one that Tato won. Sorry, that's I mean
Age of
two,
Empires 2,
two. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I was researching something else. Sorry, and
No, no, no
got
problem at
distracted.
all.
But but yeah, I see there was a best of seven game that he won 4-2. So that's pretty bloody cool there. So yeah, it is. I do like seeing the stats there and seeing that like you say, the Age of Empires one did have that, like not just a little bit more peak viewership, but a lot more. Like,
Yeah, because I think the closest was around 70K from one of the
mm,
other Age of Empires. But yeah,
mm,
it's just blows my mind and I love it, and it makes me really enthusiastic to be an esports fan when some esports can continue on for as long as it has, and the developers can manage to keep it the meta going and interesting and maintaining viewership and players. It's just cool.
yeah, it's so bloody cool. But as well, more international events happening. So this one's not quite over yet. We've got the League of Legends Worlds. We are down to the last two teams: T1 versus DRX. Well, it feels like a long time ago. Like I know I say this a lot, but World seems to go on forever.
Yes, it does. I mean, it could be because it does go on forever. No, I kind of joke because I mean, for a lot of these bigger tournaments, a month or whatever isn't unheard of.
Mm.
But when you've got worlds that just seems, I think it's 6 weeks.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have
think
to
that's
double check
about
the
it.
start date.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it does. It feels like it drags. And I guess another thing that impacts us more uniquely in our region is that, we don't have a team to root for
Mm.
all the way through, we start looking at teams that have Aussie players or Aussie connections once we get past the group stage to try and find teams to root for. Um, But I do think it's really interesting what we've seen happening and who is in the grand finals this time, because there is a really lovely story that our friend Mercury linked us to in our Discord chat, just about the players and the two teams that have made it to the finals.
Yes, so the two players in question, Faker, one of the goats of the game, just there, has won 3 world championships and has been up there in finals and semi-finals for years. But also, there's a player on the other team, Deft, who hasn't had the success that Faker has had at Worlds, but has been around for a long time. And in fact, both Faker and Deft went to high school together, which, what the
I
hell?
love that.
Yeah.
I really wonder, because they're both from Korea, I want to say. Like, I do wonder if that school just, on all their newsletters, on the plaque out front, it's like, we have two of the best League of Legends players that graduated from here as part of their, trying to attract students to the school.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because like we do all sorts of stuff when it comes to like sporting. Like the high school I went to, here had Andrew Vlahoff, which for sporting people was a really good Australian basketballer in the 90s. So like he was touted really big, and we've produced a couple of decent cricketers as well. So, and they get touted quite big, but like given how big esports is in Korea, surely that's put on a wall somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, I would have that, like, yeah, on the top of the building.
Yeah. And why not? Why would you not? Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's
I love what you were, sorry, I just love what you were saying about the history of that. Like, just these two guys that have both been active in the competitive scene. Obviously, Fake is considered, one of the greatest of all time in League of Legends. And Deft, I think we were having a look back through his competitive history. He's been at Worlds, I want to say, for the last 8 years or so.
The image that I saw said 2014 semi-finals, 2015, 16, 18, 20 and 21 made quarterfinals at Worlds. So always been up there in a team, but yeah, just making this this grand final here, and because there's kind of talk that this might be Faker's last roll of the dice, and for him going out with a win would be amazing. But Deft is also getting up there in age as far as player life goes, I guess. And seeing him win a final and go, cool, I'm done, thanks, I've done what I needed to do, would be amazing as well. Just to like, there's great storylines on both sides. One for a GOAT and one for someone who has just been up there for so long as well.
Yeah, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. So it would be fantastic. And I think that storyline in itself has got a lot of people invested. And I'm really hoping that it is a competitive series of matches. That it's not just a squash one way or the other, like we saw with the T1 with the 3-0 win. But we can only ask for that and see what happens on the day. So when is that final is the question.
It's Sunday. It's Sunday Australia time. So I know here in Perth there's a watch party being done in the Varsity Bar in Northbridge, and that's at 7:30 in the morning. So that's when it starts. So for Adelaide, what's that, 2.5 hours, 10 a.m. sometime in Adelaide.
I might have to go to our casino or something and ask them to put it on one of the screens in the sports bar. I might have luck at that time of the morning.
Maybe. But I do know as well, like in Melbourne, Fortress Melbourne are showing it. GG Easy Bar will show it. And there's cinemas in New South Wales and Queensland that are also showing it. So there'll be places you can watch it if you want to. I'm going to try and remember to wake up and go to the bar, but 7:30 on a Sunday morning might be a little bit of a big ask.
I hope they're making it worth your while. They're serving some bacon and eggs and hash browns and.
Oh, I hope so. Oh, nice big English breakfast. Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, I can do that. Oh,
I
so good.
actually can't think of a better pairing. I know most
No.
people think esports and beer, but for me, esports and hash browns is pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna say that time of morning, I think like esports and a big cooked up breakfast. Oh, pancakes and bacon.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if they'll
You
let
have
me
to
bring my
phone them
own
now.
in. Yeah.
You have to phone them to say, I will pay you
Yeah.
X amount of money for a big English breakfast at
That's it.
7:30 in the morning.
True. Yeah, but that's Worlds. Now, why I was a little bit distracted was because I was trying to Google some information on it, because I have seen recently a whole heap going around for Valorant. And it wasn't in our notes, sorry, Natty, but I just suddenly
That's
remembered
okay.
it halfway through the show, because there is the Valorant VCT is kicking off for applications soon, I believe, and there's like an open that people can participate in. So if you've got a Valorant team, like I said, I'm really sorry. I was trying to find some more information on it, but couldn't in my quick googling. No doubt there'll be some around. Check out your VCT Twitch, Twitter pages, sorry, and stuff like that, and there'll be a whole heap of stuff in there that you can check out for the Pacific League and all that sort of stuff. Because like we've spoken a little bit about it before, but what Valorant's doing and the way they're restructuring their league sounds really amazing.
Mm.
And the fact that you can put together a team and compete and don't have to be represented by an org as well, it's made it really easy for teams just to get together and play. So that's looking really cool. Cannot wait to see what comes of that.
I was going to say we've also got the Rio, the
Yes.
IEM Rio
Hmm.
major that's just kicked off. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to look into that much. That kicked off this weekend. It's running through till November 13th. So we'll.
I did see just on that Greyhound Gaming won their game. So they're the OCE representatives. They won at PAX. They won that game at PAX and IEM that was happening there to go to the international event, and they beat Cloud9. So that's really great. Love to see our OCE teams doing really well, and it's so good to see that.
Awesome. So yes, we'll definitely have more updates on the
Mhm.
IEM next week. Just as that tournament progresses, let you know how the results have been going.
That's it. But that's it for Nuts and Bolts this week. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you if you've donated to our Movember campaign. We very much appreciate it. We also realise that some people can't afford to donate, so if you can just share the message, share what we put on socials about it. When my tongue starts working again, you spread the word, and yeah, maybe you'll see us do that ultra secret, reward redeem.
Ooh, yes, it's awesome. Yeah, thank you to everybody. We've already had lots of love with people
Mm-hmm.
sharing our links on social
Mm-hmm.
media. And good luck to anybody else who's involved in doing any other um uh what is the word? Any other
Fundraising. Yeah.
campaigns. So I don't stream much, so I'm personally doing the Move campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm moving my 2K a day. I'm actually aiming to try and double it this year because it's meant to be moving 60K over the month. I'm trying to do 120.
Ooh.
So I'll keep everybody up to date on how I go with that.
Definitely cannot wait to see how we all go with that. But until next week, we'll catch you all later.